I just want to do a little bit of a blurb here. So IShowSpeed's been in China doing his world tour shit. So he decided to visit China. Cool. Um, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna be surprised that Hassan is saying shit like this, talking about like, oh man, look at IShowSpeed cutting through the noise and show a side of China that's rarely ever seen by American eyes. I don't know. Do a lot of here's the thing. Are there like a lot of your average American who sort of just think of China as just like this a sort of like dictatorial sort of repressive socially repressive like shithole? There's a bunch, but here's the thing: a lot of that is true. There were instances of just like people coming up to IShowSpeed and being racist. Is that like correct to paint all the Chinese people as that? No, but don't be surprised if there are some racists within China. To me, China and the U.S. are foils of each other, and that is the perfect way of thinking about it. Boy Meets Mini. They are extremely similar, but they both act very, very similarly. If we're talking about geopolitically in terms of their goals, if we're talking about economically in terms of their goals, and if we're talking about, sort of their overall sort of power structures, maybe not exactly the same, but they are also quite similar. They are both sides of the same coin. They are extremely similar. So the question then becomes, like, how much of this is because, like, hey, China is doing this because, it's beneficial for their own propaganda? Because, like, who just, like, what, like, Chinese, like, what, like, random American sort of, channel or station, just randomly airs, like, a particular content creator from, like, somewhere saying, like, hey, look at this, like, famous streamer from this country going around and just, hey, look, talking beneficially about us and stuff like that. Not really many. I'm essentially, basically what I'm getting at here is if you're looking at stuff like this, you should always take things with a grain of salt. I don't think like what IShowSpeed here is what he's doing is like bad or wrong. He's having a trip, he's having a good time. This is like his sort of like shtick. But don't forget, there's always a lot of value, and the Chinese Communist Party is smart about this. They know the value of being able to make propaganda out of this. I mean, this is what any country does for tourism. Yeah, and this is like the sort of modern iteration of that. Like every other Southeast Asian country or every other country, like more than likely did films of IShowSpeed's like live streams in order to promote like any like tourism, right? We know that this is a thing that's happened. Like, duh. They want like tourism money because they want foreign currency because it's beneficial for their own markets. Like, crazy. You would have thought that such a thing could be possible. But like, I'm just saying, like, hey, just be wary of the potential for propaganda, because as we all know, Zoomers, Gen Alpha, the supposed generations who are allegedly immune to propaganda. Not very immune to propaganda, are they? No, sirree, Bob. Now, I'm not, again, like I said before, I don't think, like, he's not doing anything wrong. He just went to tour in China. He says he likes China. It's very nice and shit like that. Sure, fuck it. Tourism, do the thing, yada, yada, yada. So that's fun. That's fine. That's good. But again, like, a lot of, like, people on the left may sort of use this as like a way to be like, oh man, it's really, really important that that IShowSpeed is like cutting through decades of American propaganda. And it's just like, really, like, do a lot of people like do a lot of people sort of think that, hey, that China is like this sort of like repressive like third world shithole? Probably not. Maybe. Like, everyone's got their fucking biases and everything, but well, someone in my Twitch community taught in the PRC for 2 years. He'd be a good person to ask about everything there. He's a US based teacher. That's probably good. Probably, yeah. There's probably, without a doubt, like a lot of like English translated teachers that go. I mean, Tim Waltz also went there as well, right? And like, I mean, they literally even showed some random tweet from some random person saying like, the amount of money IShowSpeed got paid by the Chinese government, $0. And it's just like, okay, like, am I supposed to believe that he's doing this for? I think he himself is doing this because he just wanted to go on tour in China as like another part of the like world he hasn't visited yet. Um, because he just hasn't been there yet. But people are going to use this in order to spread a lot of propaganda, and you should just kind of you should just kind of watch out for that. That's really about it. Oh, and I guess like I should sort of say what my actual position on China is. China is Dengist reforms is a very obvious neoliberal state. To call it communist is foolish. It is not the Communist Party. It's communist in name only. It is about as communist as the United States as it is about as communist as the United States of America. That is to say, not really at all. Who owns the means of production? Still private enterprise and corporations. They just have significant state control. Similar to the Soviet Union, of course, but still, overall, the means of production still in the hands of, well, private owners, obviously. Um, Overall, you can't really like not make excuses. I still like overall pretty much agree with a lot of the stuff that the state has done. They've done a lot of good stuff in terms of raising people out of poverty, but there will always be things to criticize. It's just the problem that I have with a lot of people online is very often, guess what they do? Oh, they don't really, bring up any of those criticisms and talk about, the problems that China has very, very often. China's wealth gap has been increasing since Xi took power, though. Exactly. Keep in mind, Xi is also the same guy who cracks down constantly on Marxist trade unions. He also does. He said not this year, but I think last year during one of his it's not the State of the Union. What would be his State of the Union? The equivalent to that China is a capitalist country and always has been. Smug Pepe, very socialist of them, isn't it? I essentially want this, what I'm saying here, to essentially like cut through all the bullshit, because it's just like these guys are not even remotely close to socialist. They are a capitalist country just with a lot of state control, significant state levers. And I do think that is an incredibly sort of effective like means of sort of being able to help with sort of I don't know, wealth disparity can be certainly helpful. We know of like all those socially democratic countries, because I also have like the similar problem with Majority Report when they talk about China, talking about like, yeah, it's really good, like this sort of like state apparatusy that exist in order to help rein in corporations. But here's the thing, not necessarily. It also depends on the material conditions on the ground for a lot of people. A lot of it is generally, I would say, pretty good for a lot of people in China, but you can sort of make it like analogous. Like, I still believe, doesn't China still have like some form of private healthcare, right? Is China's healthcare system free? We know about their real estate market. Yes, in terms of social liberties and civil liberties, China is significantly worse in comparison to the US. But yes, it is a double-edged sword, like you said, boy meets mini. Yep. Can regulate and also enable the worst aspects of capitalism. That's true. China healthcare system free. So China does have free public healthcare, which is under this the country's social insurance plan. That's good. The healthcare system provides basic coverage for the majority of the native population, and in most cases, expats as well. However, it will depend on the region you reside in. So I'm assuming for probably the poorer regions, like probably more out in the western parts of China, where it's more than likely poorer, your healthcare coverage can be questionable. So overall, it is probably better than that of the US. A few dental services such as tooth extraction but not a cleaning and optometry services are covered, but most are paid out of pocket. Okay, so that's exactly... Okay, so I would probably say then healthcare in China is very similar to healthcare in Canada. Everything in general is covered by the state for free. Like, you can go into your doctor, you get most things pretty much covered. But optometry depends on your insurance coverage. Same with dental care. Otherwise, pay out of pocket. It looks like China probably has a bit better coverage, so it's probably a bit better in comparison to Canada. But so far from what I'm overall reading here, it seems very, very similar to Canadian healthcare. Very, very similar. Oh, it's free, and it is free for permanent residents and for citizens. That's good. This is just a random example, right? There's certainly a lot of things you can compliment China on, but you also have to, as you said earlier, Boy Meets Mini, it's all a double-edged sword with when it comes to the overall state control that China has of its corporations. It can help, but it can also significantly hurt. And you just have to be wary about that. Don't get fucking blinded and blinkered. Don't do like the stupid America bad fucking shit where it's just like, man, like, we just hate America. America must fall. Let the reign of Xi Jinping begin. We're talking about nation states here. There are a lot of things to go after and criticize. Don't remain blinkered and don't fall for the propaganda. That's pretty much my overall messaging.